Wink News begins with breaking news.
Good morning. You are watching Wink News this morning. I'm Jen Stacy.
And I'm John Trueller in for Rob Spicker this morning. Today, 8 people are dead and 10 others injured after an early morning crash in Moorhaven. The crash happened at State Road 78 and 29 in Glades County before 1 o'clock this morning.
Wink News reporter Sam Smink is live there now with the latest details for us. Sam?
Jen, John, we want to catch you up on everything we've learned so far. Again, this was a church van with 18 passengers traveling from Fort Myers. They are originally from Fort Pierce. It was a Haitian church. Now we have confirmed that 8 are dead, 10 are injured. The driver was one of those that was killed in the crash. FHP is working to find identities right now for us. They are also telling friends and family at scene what exactly is going on. Again, this was a 16-passenger van, but 18 passengers were inside at the time of the crash.
It's an extended van. It is a large passenger capacity van. It's probably a 16-passenger van, but again, that is yet to be determined. The injured were transported to 4 local hospitals. The individuals that were transported to Lee Memorial Hospital were more of a serious nature.
Now, again, there are at least 4 patients at Lee Memorial. 2 are in very serious condition. 1 is in stable condition. That is a 4-year-old child. Troopers tell me there was not a car seat in the van at the time. Now, what they believe happened was that the van was traveling on State Road 78 when they crossed over a stop sign, traveling across all lanes on State Road 27, falling down an embankment into a water-filled ditch. Again, FHP is still actively investigating the scene, trying to identify all the victims involved. Count on Wink News to have more information as it becomes available. For now, reporting live in Glades County, Sam Smink, Wink News this morning.
Now, Wink weather on the ones.
All right, 6:01 the time now on our Monday morning.
Jen and John, back to you.
Stephanie, thank you. Today, Australia has become the latest country to change its rules regarding pilots.
This coming following last week's Germanwings air disaster. The country now requires at least 2 crew members inside the cockpit of larger domestic and international airlines at all times. Those new security protocols go into effect this afternoon, and they will apply to all commercial flights with at least 2 flight attendants or more than 50 passengers. We're going to have much more on this coming up later, including new audio released from the cockpit voice recorder. This morning, 2 convicted murderers, part of the Cash Fiends gang, are trying to get a new sentence. Lawyers for Ashley Toya and Roderick Washington are both trying to get their sentence reduced from life in prison without the possibility of parole. The 2 were convicted for Alex and Jeffrey Sosa's murders in 2006. Toya and Washington were both 17 years old at the time of those murders. And due to a new Supreme Court ruling, anyone under the age of 17 must be given a chance of parole when sentenced.
Well, today the Cape Coral City Council will vote on whether to extend bar hours on Fridays and Saturdays. And Mayor Marnie Zawicki postponed last week's vote since she was unable to attend last Monday's meeting. And the bars affected fall in the Dixie Roadhouse area. The proposal is to extend the closing hours to 4 a.m. on Friday and Saturday nights instead of 2 a.m. Now, bars that want to stay open will need to apply and receive the extension permit. Cape Coral City Council leaders say if they approve to extend bar hours, it would be for a 1-year trial run. And take a look at these flames in this video here, caught on camera in Hendry County. This was a brush fire that broke out near the LaBelle-Clewiston line. Several dozen firefighters have the fire fully contained this morning, but not before the flames destroyed an abandoned mobile home. The fire covered 150 acres, and so far there are no reported injuries. At least one homeowner told us they were afraid they'd lose their home, saying flames came within 80 feet of it. Again, that fire is contained this morning. Well, if you're under 35, according to a new report, you're probably on Snapchat, right here, or more than one other social media platform.
Plus $50 million. That's how much it will cost to bring a new school to Lee County. Wink News Money Watch reporter Jill Wagner is live at the New York Stock Exchange with your money headlines. Good morning, Jill.
Hey, good morning, Jen and John. Lee County School District's newest high school is expected to open in Bonita Springs for the 2018 and 2019 school year. Lee County school board leaders will seek a half-cent sales tax to finance it. The costs include construction, cost of the land, furniture, and technology. The new Bonita Springs High School will house 2,000 students. Lee County's last 3 high schools also cost about $50 million. Here on Wall Street, it is a shortened trading week because of Good Friday. Last week, a positive finish after 4 down days. The Dow jumped 34 points on Friday. The Nasdaq rose about 27. And if you're using Snapchat to text with friends, chances are you are under 35. A new study looked at what age groups are using social media, and it found that 71% of Snapchat users are between 18 and 34. Only about 40% of Twitter and Facebook users are in that age bracket. Jen and John?
I have Snapchat, but I rarely use it. You do use it all the time, right?
I do use it, yeah.
Yeah? Well, if you're heading to some big
I don't
concerts.
even know how to use it.
Jill, you and I are in the
We'll
same
teach
boat
you,
then.
Jill.
Yeah.
Don't worry, don't worry.
Too old.
If you are heading to some big concerts this spring and summer, organizers are saying that they want you to leave those selfie sticks at home. Oh my goodness, how would we survive?
How terrible.
Yeah, music, I know, devastating, right? Music festivals like Coachella and Lollapalooza are banning those long handheld selfie sticks that can attach to your phone or to a camera. Now, GoPros and cameras themselves are okay. Now, they say it's for safety reasons, and it could also help make sure to prevent fans from raising a camera above a crowd and snapping restricted images of some performances. Coachella's updated rules, they say, quote, no selfie sticks / narcissistics. Jen and John.
Are selfie sticks banned on the New York Stock Exchange floor? Is that allowed?
I'm sure they are allowed. These guys like attention, right?
Of course.
Thanks, Jill. Have a
Thanks,
great
Jill.
morning.
Well, now for you at 6 o'clock, the Final Four of the NCAA tournament is all set, and this weekend looks to be very exciting.
Yeah, one game is a battle of the 1 seeds. Unbeaten history-making Kentucky taking on Wisconsin. This is actually a rematch of last year's Final Four, where Kentucky came out victorious. The other semifinal matchup is 7th-seeded Michigan State against Duke. This is the 5th time at least 3 number 1 seeds reach the Final Four. John was watching the Notre Dame game at my house. And
I was.
have you recovered?
I have recovered.
I thought you were going to have a heart attack at the end.
They played so well. I blame producer Brad, who's in the booth right now. It's a story for another time. It's all his fault.
It's going to be an interesting Final Four. Right at the break, meteorologist Joey Silvines in with your weather on the ones.
You're watching Southwest Florida's news leader, Wink News, this morning. Your time right now is 6:08 on this Monday morning.
That's a look at your Wink News traffic. Jen and John, back to you.
Today, federal prosecutors are expected to wrap up phase 1 of their case against Boston Marathon bomber Johar Tsarnaev.
Yeah, today we expect to hear testimony from medical examiners who will describe the fatal injuries to the 2 people, including an 8-year-old boy. The jury will hear additional evidence during the trial's 2nd phase to determine whether Tsarnaev is sentenced to death or life in prison. During opening statements, Tsarnaev's lawyer admitted he participated in the bombings, but said his older brother, Tamerlan, was the mastermind of the terror attack.
Today, investigators are focusing their attention on what caused an explosion and fire that leveled 3 Manhattan apartment buildings. Over the weekend, 2 bodies were recovered from the rubble. New York City Mayor Bill de Blasio says someone may have improperly tapped a gas line before the explosion. 22 people were injured in that explosion, 4 of them critically.
I turned the corner and I saw a lot of victims on the floor, and I saw a lot of people rushing over to help. So I ran over and I looked up and I said, I wonder if the people are inside. And I could see that the whole 2nd floor had already collapsed.
Inspectors from the utility company visited that building about an hour before Thursday's explosion and determined work to upgrade gas service didn't pass inspection. They then locked the line to ensure it wouldn't be used. 15 minutes later, the sushi restaurant's owner smelled gas and called the landlord, who called the general contractor. According to authorities, no one called police or the utility company.
Well, today is the 2nd to last day for Iran and 6 world powers to come to an agreement on Iran's nuclear program. Right now, there is an outline to a final deal, and that's what needs to be agreed upon in the next 48 hours. The deal reins in Iran's nuclear capabilities in exchange for relief of sanctions. It's unclear if Iran will agree to key aspects of the deal, including calls to ship its atomic fuel to Russia. The State Department said this weekend that serious but difficult work remained for negotiations.
New this morning, Defense Secretary Ash Carter wants to make it easier to join the military. He wants to ease some enlistment standards, hoping to better attract and keep service members and civilians in the Defense Department. These tweaks aren't for all military roles, but for specific jobs like those involving cyber or high-tech expertise. Secretary Carter will start publicly outlining his plan today and tomorrow at high schools in the Northeast. New at 6:17, some frightening moments on opening day at Coney Island on Sunday. About 24 riders got stuck after the world-famous cyclone malfunctioned.
Yeah, take a look at this video here. As you can see, workers escorted the riders down the wooden ride one by one, and no injuries were reported. Park officials say the ride will be inspected and then it will reopen. Scary moments there.
I got stuck on a roller coaster like that once and had to walk down. That's not fun.
Coming up on Wink News this morning at 6 o'clock, neither has formally announced their candidacy for the 2016 presidential race, but a new poll has one of them as a pretty big frontrunner. We'll have those results straight ahead.
And this guy looks pretty weird with black eyes. It's all part of a biohacking experiment. We'll tell you what that's about. Coming up on Wink News this morning at 6. Your time right now, 6:18.
John and Jen, back to you.
Today, President Obama, Vice President Joe Biden, and Arizona Senator John McCain are among the guests scheduled to pay tribute to the late Senator Edward Kennedy in Boston. Yeah, today's ceremony is to formally dedicate the Edward M. Kennedy Institute for the United States Senate. The $79 million facility features a life-size replica of the Senate chamber. Guests, including student groups, will be able to role play as senators and debate some of the major issues of the day. The Institute was built next to the John F. Kennedy Presidential Library on Boston's Columbia Point. A new CBS News New York Times poll shows Jeb Bush continues to lead the pack of 2016 Republican presidential hopefuls. Of those surveyed, 51% said that they would consider voting for the former Florida governor for the Republican nomination. 27% said no. 42% said that they'd consider voting for former Arkansas Governor Mike Huckabee for the GOP nomination. Kentucky Senator Rand Paul and Florida Senator Marco Rubio tied for third with 39%. Meanwhile, in the Democratic race, Hillary Clinton is still way out in front. 81% said they would consider voting for her for the Democratic nomination, same as last month. Vice President Joe Biden is in second place with 48%. Now, even though several Republicans are tracking well, only Texas Senator Ted Cruz has officially announced his candidacy. But several sources are saying that Florida Senator Marco Rubio is planning a major announcement now for mid-April in Miami. It's likely to be the launch of his presidential campaign. The announcement is expected the week of April 13th. According to the Tampa Bay Times, Rubio has reserved the Freedom Tower on the campus of Miami-Dade College. Rubio has not publicly confirmed plans, though, to run for president. As negotiations continue between the U.S. and Cuba, some Americans whose homes were seized by Cuba police 6 decades ago hope to reclaim their property. Cuba confiscated thousands of Americans' properties when Fidel Castro seized power in 1959. The U.S. Congress passed law in 1996 insisting Cuba pay for the confiscated property. One woman says her family lost an 80-acre farm and thousands of dollars worth of stock.
All of our stuff was taken. I didn't have a bounce back from that. I mean, honest to goodness, we were ripped off.
Experts caution the American claims protected by international law might net only 3 or 4 cents on the dollar. New on Wink, a legendary broadcaster known for his wacky suits and his time here in Fort Myers, is suffering from leukemia again. Yeah, Craig Seeger's family made the announcement Sunday on Twitter. They say he is preparing to battle cancer after doctors cleared him to return to work earlier this month. Seeger, a former Wink News sports director, was scheduled to work March Madness but had to cancel. His son says leukemia returned last week. Oh my gosh, well, we certainly send our prayers to their family. Absolutely. You're watching Wink News this morning, Southwest Florida's news leader. It's 6:26 right now for you. As we head to break, here's a look at some of the weather across the country. Coming up, your weather on the ones with meteorologist Joey Sovine. Stay with us. You're watching Wink News this morning. Welcome back to Wink News this morning. It is 6:30. I'm John Trewiler in for Rob Spicker today. And I'm Jen Stacy. 8 people are dead this morning and 10 others injured after an early morning crash in Moorhaven. This happened at the intersection of State Road 78 and 29 in Glades County just before 1 this morning. Yeah, Wink News reporter Sam Smink is there live for us with the details. Good morning, Sam.
Good morning, John. Good morning, Jen. Just within the last 5 minutes, the medical examiner has arrived on scene. As we've been telling you all morning, 8 are dead, 10 are injured. They have been taken to 4 area hospitals. We are told the driver of the van was killed in this crash. Now, again, we just talked to church members from this congregation. They tell us they are from the Independent Haitian Assembly of God. That's a church out of Fort Pierce. They say they were coming from a church convention in Fort Myers when this happened. Now, troopers believe that the van was driving on State Road 78 when they did not see a stop sign that on State Road 27. They say they went through all 4 lanes, traveling down an embankment into a water-filled ditch. You were actually not able to see the van from the top of the road. They say a 4-year-old was injured in this crash and is at Lee Memorial in stable condition. They did not find a car seat. Now, the biggest thing that family members and church members wanted us to know and tell you is that they are asking for your prayers at this time. They don't know how critical all of the patients are, and they still not have identified everyone that was involved in this crash, but they believe that your prayers can help them in this situation. So we are asking you to do that for them as well. Troopers have not given us any more information. They do not know what may have caused the driver to miss the stop sign, but we do know that it is not very well lit out here. Again, church members say they do have a message for you, the viewers.
It's heartbreaking because it's so many of us. You know, there are people there at the church waiting. We're 2 hours away. Something that was supposed to be a simple revival, go, have fun, come back. It just didn't turn out to be like that.
They say Fort Pierce is turned upside down right now. This is hitting their family very hard. They say, in fact, the whole congregation is a family. Again, this is the Independent Haitian Assembly of God Church. 8 are confirmed dead, 10 are injured. Count on Wink News to have more information as it becomes available. For now, reporting live in Glades County, Sam Smink, Wink News This Morning.
That's a look at your Wink News traffic. Jen and John, back to you.
Most of what investigators have found remains a mystery as they look into the crash of Germanwings Flight 9525. But a report published on Sunday gives a timeline of what appears to have happened on that plane.
Yeah, Andrew Spencer reports a German newspaper has published details from the flight's cockpit voice recorder.
For God's sake, open the door. Those 6 words are believed to be among the captain's last as he pleaded with the co-pilot to let him back in the cockpit. The German newspaper Bild published what it claims is a summary of the plane's cockpit voice recorder, which has not yet been released by investigators. CNN cannot independently verify the information from the report, but a spokeswoman from France's Accident Investigation Agency says the BEA is dismayed by the leak, calling the report voyeurism.
There must be some validity to it because while the authorities are outraged, they haven't denied that it was accurate. It certainly points us in a direction that it was an intentional act by the co-pilot.
The Bild report states the pilot told his co-pilot before takeoff that he hadn't had time to use the restroom. Once they reached cruising altitude, he did so. At that point, French authorities have said co-pilot Andreas Lubitz locked the flight's captain out of the cockpit. The newspaper says air traffic radar detected the plane's descent. 3 minutes later, the cockpit alarms start sounding. Then the captain can be heard screaming, "For God's sake, open the door." Within 13 minutes of the pilot first leaving the cockpit, the report says the plane's wing can be heard scraping the mountainside. Expect investigators to question the relatives, friends, and co-workers of Lubitz as they try to pin down what could have prompted the man to steer a plane full of people into the ground. Andrew Spencer, Wink News This Morning.
Well, if you're flying JetBlue today, listen up. Right now, system-wide outages with its ticketing systems is causing some headaches at airports across the country. And no word yet on when they expect the system to be back to normal. We just checked with Southwest Florida International Airport, and so far no delays are being reported there.
2 FGCU fraternities and 1 sorority were disciplined after they're accused of hazing and serving booze to minors. According to our partners at the News Press, the local chapter of Alpha Kappa Alpha and Kappa Alpha Psi are on interim suspension. Basically, it means that they can't recruit new members or host off-campus events. Kappa Alpha is on disciplinary probation, meaning they must get the dean's approval now for all activities. Panama City Beach is making some changes to its police force after 7 students were shot while on spring break. Police say 22-year-old David Daniels shot 7 students at a party. Right now, at least 4 of them are in critical condition. This weekend, the city council held a vote on whether to ban alcohol on the beach. They voted against it. Instead, council agreed to give the police department a $200,000 grant to increase patrols.
Not enough. I can tell by the gauge of my other counselors they don't think we have a problem, and we do. Our city's under siege. We need to take it back.
City officials say the motion is just one small step forward in the right direction.
Well, happening right now, Lee County Sheriff's deputies are still searching for 3 suspects in last week's violent home invasion. However, they did arrest David Monstive Jr. over the weekend. The 21-year-old Bonita Springs man faces charges of robbery with a deadly weapon. Only Wink News spoke with victims of that robbery in Cape Coral. The couple says 4 men attacked them and ransacked their home, demanding cash. If you have any information about the 3 suspects, you're asked to call the Lee County Sheriff's Office.
A California firefighter is critically injured after falling through the roof of a burning home.
Yeah, just an incredibly scary incident here.
Wow.
All caught on camera Sunday. Take a look at this. The firefighter was trying to put out heavy flames in the garage of a Fresno home from the roof when he fell through right into the inferno. According to the Fresno Bee, fellow firefighters and several Good Samaritans rushed in and pulled him out. A 25-year-old veteran was taken to the hospital with 2nd and 3rd degree burns. He is expected to be okay.
Oh my gosh. Glad he's going to be okay. What horrifying video.
Absolutely.
Right at the break, meteorologist Joey Silvine's back in with your weather on the ones.
Plus, it's everything you need to know before you go. The Wink Wake Up is coming up next. We'll see you then.